mentioned, I have my ex-girlfriend, Natalia, to be with me. In fact, she is and she was my ex-girlfriend. So, because I have her today, I won't be using PowerPoint because she is a good storyteller. So I will rely on her. Right.
I never say yes.
Sometimes you just need to
You
use
say
the eyes.
the worship song, yes, I will.
Yeah, today we are going to talk about courtship. But before we start the talk, I would like to just to invite you to take up your headphone, and you have internet connection. I know not many of us has internet connection, but if you have internet connection, you can open this page. Slido. And just type.
S-L-I-D-O.
It's too small, is it?
I think the master.
Emails. So what happened there? You will be able to post some questions. Right? Some of the questions will be quite sensitive, so I encourage you to use the system. But if you are brave enough, later on we'll have the Q&A session for us to talk about the question as well. Right? Okay. Everybody has access to the Slido? Okay. All right. So let's start. Probably before we start, I just want to have a feel. How many of you have watched this Beauty and the Beast movie recently, right?
It's a cartoon or movie?
Yeah, both. Any both. Beauty and the Beast.
The Emma Watson one.
Greta, have you watched? Oh, you don't like? Okay, whoever free can invite her. It's a very nice movie. All right. So for the sake of Greta, probably you want to share the story of Beauty and the Beast. We'll do a quick one. Don't worry.
The cartoon, right?
It's the same.
Yeah, so our topic today is not about Beauty and the Beast. That's not
Not the topic, but the people.
So I think for me, Beauty and the Beast movie is just a fairy tale. You know, for me, I watched the cartoon version when I was very young, about 8 or 9 years old. For me, in my mind, up until I haven't entered into courtship, then for me that movie is just a fairy tale. It's just it's unreal. It's in a real life it's impossible. So let us revise a little bit, a look back of the story. So Beauty and the Beast is about, you know, the story in the beginning is that they don't know each other. Then suddenly they just met with each other and they're trapped in one place. And when they are trapped in one place, if they have a chance to know each other, so they like spending time together.
So this is the Beast and the Beauty.
Yeah, the Beast and the Beauty. So they spend time together, they get to know each other. After they get to know each other much better, then I think they start to have certain struggles. They have certain challenges that they have to face. But on the challenges to that movie, we can see that the Beast sacrificed for the sake of the Beauty. And at the end of the day, the Beauty is willing to have this unconditional love, although it's a beast, it's very ugly. But she is willing to look through deeper into the heart of the beast. And end up, she said that, I love you. So for me, in the beginning it's a fairy tale, but after I know more about God's teaching, about courtship, then that is not a fairy tale. It can happen in our life. That kind of unconditional love, it can happen in our life, and it will. So, we want to have that kind of unconditional love? Yes.
How many of you interested to have that kind of love? Nobody?
I want. Somebody sacrificed their life for you, and then although you are so ugly, yes.
Thanks, Natalia. And I think that love is real. That is the love that I think we need to aim for, and that's the reason why I think I'm very excited that all of you come here today, right, to listen, because when we are courting, we probably don't really go into that detail of understanding what is courtship all about and how we can be better as a couple, right? And I think it's a love that we need to aim, and that's the reason why last week I think Irma set a good foundation, the 5 actions or the 5 do's that we should do when we are single, if we are still single. This is the proof of our love. So this is Adeline. Hi everybody.
See, it's real. I told you it's real.
So, and today I will share another 10. Sorry, no, it's not 10, don't worry, it's 3. So I'm going to, oh, it's nice, very nice. It's 3 don't, right? Don't, sorry. Forgive my English. Don't, right? I only have 3. The first one is, probably I'll just, okay. The first one is don't grab.
Cannot use your Grab application.
So a disclaimer, I think since you brought up a disclaimer, I'm not working for any taxi company or Gojek or Uber. I have nothing to do with Grab. You can still use the apps, right? But what I'm trying to bring up here is the action of grabbing, right? So what is involved in the action of grabbing? When you grab something, how does it actually happen typically? You will be rushing, right? You rush to catch, or you can probably, I mean, most of the time it's impulsive, right? When you grab something, it's like, you try to be fast and impulsive. Probably something is dropping, you try to grab it, right? And you use all your might, all your reflexes to catch it, right? So in the action of grabbing, there is this component, and I think it's the same for finding a girlfriend also, right? Or boyfriend. Sorry. So most of the time, we feel the urge to find a boyfriend or to find a girlfriend. Correct or not? Yes. Kevin seems to be no. I already have already, so don't need anything. But yeah, there is this urge, and apparently it is something that is natural for us, especially in this modern society whereby whenever you go to a movie, the first thing that is outstanding is having a girlfriend or boyfriend. Right? It's quite common, and it is also in the human nature. Like last teaching session, if you remember, Iman shared about our deepest desire, our heart that will require, God put something in our heart that let us desire something greater, right? So, and many times we've mistaken it with Samsung S9, right? Or girlfriend or boyfriend, and it's just in human nature to have that desire to be filled, right? And one of them that we mistakenly think about is this relationship, that we think if we have this relationship will be complete, right? Although, but by the way, do you know what is the difference between complete and finish? So imagine Toby is saying, after the marriage, I feel complete. Then imagine if he's saying, after the wedding, I'm finished.
Finish.
What's the difference? Right. So I mean, there is a desire for us to feel complete, and sometimes we mistaken it with the urge to grab this relationship, right? And Father Fulton Shin, do you know Fulton Shin? Father Fulton Shin is one of the good speaker for the church. Quite an old guy, I think has passed away already. But his book really good. And one of the books that he wrote recently is this book titled Guide to Contentment, right? And in his book, he write this very interesting sentence. He said, two great gifts are given to the young at a time when family is meant to be founded. Namely, two great gifts is given to us, or you, now I'm not that young anymore, to all of you. Namely is beauty in woman, right? And strength and power in man, right? And this is actually, according to him, the least permanent of all gifts. They appear at a time when they were meant to serve purposes of allurement. So if you see a beautiful girl or a guy that you probably feel like, wow, this is the one. Sometimes it's natural for us to have this inclination, this urge to go and approach them and get them as our boyfriend or girlfriend, right? But having said that, I think we also need to remember that when we go for that experience, or when we rush out to go and find girlfriend and boyfriend, we also need to see the other side of the coin, right? We also need to understand what is it there being in consecrated life and stuff. Because, for example, for my case, few months before we got married, we already decided to get married. Somehow, something struck me and it encouraged me to attend this, in St. Mary Church, last time there is this dinner with the friar, whereby they will invite the young men typically to see how their lifestyle and such, right? And at that point of time, 3 months to the marriage, I attend the session. Somehow I feel that it is a very beautiful community that they have there. Right? So it is important for you to understand what is there at the other side as well. So that's one. Don't just go into it, and then don't have the full picture of what is available in the marketplace, probably. Right? So the first thing is don't grab, don't rush, right? And sometimes it is not because of only this urge that essentially is in our human nature, but it also can be something that comes from inner wound, that cause us to feel insecure, right? That cause us to feel that, okay, we need to have someone to be with us so that we can feel complete instead of finished, right? So it is important to be aware of this situation as well. That's why for those of you that is single, I tell you this is the fantastic years of your life, right? And it is a time for you to understand about yourself and to see whether there is anything that we need to kind of improve on. Okay. So, what is the recommendation here, right? What is the potential action that we should do? So, related to this, do not grab. For those of you that is already in relationship, is good. For those of you that is still looking for a relationship, you can continue to do so. Doesn't mean that you need to stop looking. What do you call it? Carpe diem, is it? Oh, look out. You have to look out, right? In your talk. You have to look out. Yeah. So Tommy mentioned you have to look out. Don't just stay in your room, seize the day, or yeah. So you have to look out. I encourage you to continue to do that. Don't settle. But at the same time, I think it is good if you see someone that is so beautiful, right? Someone that probably catch your heart, your mind until you cannot sleep, right? Instead of just go straight to her or him and say, "Will you be my girlfriend?" what you can do is be friend with her or him. Be friend with her and him or him. Because when you are a friend, before you go into a romantic relationship, what happens is that you have the opportunity to look at the person clearly, to look at what is the quality that he has beside the handsome face or the pretty face that they have, right? You have the chance to understand this person, the quality, the background, right? By the way, last time when I was in courtship with my wife, she always remind me, wedding is not only the two of us. Wedding is between families also. So it's your chance to understand them. It's your chance to really know what you are heading to, right? So it is always good to start with friendship, right? In fact, I recently, during the course of preparing for this talk, I hear this talk by Jason Everett, and he's mentioned a very beautiful phrase about how you should find your girlfriend or boyfriend. He said this: the young people should run towards God instead of towards each other. Right? Run towards God. And when you're running towards God, you see who is catching up. Right? But of course the point is you need to also look who is catching up. Right? So she start looking around. If you just run, you didn't see who is catching up, of course it's difficult also. But having said that, God can do wonder. Yeah, God can do wonder. And Natalia is going to share a story, a real life story about this case, about a person that we know that rushed through, that grabbed, right, and ended up with something that is not good.
So I think why we come with this don't grab. So I will put it into story of my friend. So before I tell this story, I think every story that I tell is not to judge anybody, but it's an experience that we want to learn it together. Okay? So I have a friend of mine. So she's a female. I just say she. She is a very good friend of mine, and we grew up together. So there is one day, it happens about 8-9 years ago. She had a boyfriend. Then suddenly one day she just came to me, hey, I had a boyfriend. I said, wow, so happy for you. Then just another 2 more months, he said, I want to get married already. Oh, I said, with who? With this boyfriend. I didn't even get a boyfriend. He said, when? He said, no, yes, she is. Yeah, I think my mother liked him so much. All of my parents like him so much. So I was like telling her, don't you think that you need to think about it a bit deeper? Like maybe you should introduce him to me first. I'm your friend. Then shouldn't you just look at it deeper? How is the family? How get both of you get along? And she said, we get along very well. We met a few times already. And I think he is perfect for me. Okay, so I say, why is he so perfect for you? He said, because my parents love him. He comes from a very wealthy and rich family. He is a family that with a great power. In a social life. And he said, you know, all of my friends, including you have boyfriend already. Like last time we were in courtship, but I don't have boyfriend. So I think this is what God sent for me. He's the one. Okay, then we need to respect someone's decision. So I respect her decision. So end up they go for marriage, and it happened. So it happened. Then after 3 months of the marriage, here comes the reality. So I think after 3 months of it, then they start to have a lot of conflict. You know, in marriage there are two different people. They have a lot of differences already. So they have this moral issue, they have a issue with the parents-in-law, with the family and everything. And one of their problems is that they don't run towards God. God is not inside the story at all. At all. So after 2 years and a half, they choose to divorce. And I think this is what I think we don't grab. We don't grab just because of a lot of pressure, a lot of inner hurt. Then we just, Hokkien man say, Hokkien man Chinese people say, ting tong piang, anyhow grab. So I mean,
Now you learn Hokkien words.
yeah, like, chak chai, ting tong piang, okay? So it means, anyhow choose, like mixed vegetable rice, I want this, I want that, I want this. And I think the main problem is because God is not the center. Since the very beginning, not only in the marriage, since the very beginning. So I think divorce is something that God doesn't want in a marriage. It's a no.
Yeah, and trust me, I know the person as well, and it's very ugly. What happened is very ugly, right? I'm not saying the person is ugly. And the reason because they are powerful family.
Don't claim the beauty and the beast so much, okay?
It is a very ugly separation. They even go to the court and stuff. So it's something that we should learn from, and that's the reason why I said do not grab. Right? Make sure you have the time, you have the good understanding of who are you approaching, and it's always good to start with friendship, right? And someone may ask, what about the first love at the first sight? Is it not real? What do you think? Not real? Not real. Wow. So yours not love at the first sight, right? Don't worry, mine also love at the first sight. You have experience love at the first sight. But apparently this is not from me, I don't have that experience also. Although in the movie we see a lot of love at the first sight. But according to Father Fultershin, it's not impossible to have love at the first sight. There may be instances whereby you see someone and then you realize, hey, this is the one that you want to be with. But although it's love at the first sight, start with a friend first. Okay. Be friend, try to understand. Right? Because sometimes love at the first sight can be for different reasons. It may not be a real love. Okay. So that's the first one, don't grab. And now we go to the second one, which is don't use. Don't use. And I think this is going to be very relevant for us that is in relationship. So what I meant by, can I just write it down first? Don't use. So what I meant by don't use can be understood from understanding what are the different level or depths of love. Alright? So if you see, according to the Greek scholar, right, in the Bible they're using Greek language, and there are 4 levels of love. The first one is, can someone help me? Huh? Eros? Why, that's go up directly, yeah? Is it? So the first level, huh? Philia. Philia. So this is what they say, a love more like an intense like between friends. So this is similar to the friendship, good friendship that you have. And then you have the next level of love, which is just now what Toby always remember, Eros. Right, so this is a romantic love, right? That typically driven by the drive for sex, right? And then the next level we have storge. So this is a love that is typically happening between parents and children. It's a family kind of love. And it's very close to the final love that we should have, which is agape. Agape, right? And as you know, agape is unconditional love, right? And that is the love that you can, if you achieve that kind of level, is it time out?
No.
Until what time should I be talking?
After free.
No, wait. We're going to have someone behind like.
Okay.
I think so.
Just now I forgot to count the time.
It's okay, you have 21 more minutes.
So still have a lot of time.
26.
Yeah. So that's the things that we need to achieve, and it's actually not something that will come out without really looking at the Bible. It's actually in the Bible. So if you have your Bible with you, if you have
Electronic.
handphone with you,
Yeah.
right? I'm quite nervous opening this Bible also because I've not been opening a hard copy Bible. Let's see whether I can get it. You can open John chapter 13, verse 34. See who is faster, huh?
John.
I got it already.
Try.
John chapter 13,
Verse 34.
verse 30.
So it's written there, John chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. So if you see here, the word love is repeated several times, but we can be sure the word love that God used for himself is agape, because he has unconditional love for us, right? And that should be the love that we exercise to our wife, our husband, right? To our, of course, to our other half, to our girlfriend or boyfriend, right? And of course, if you can do it for everyone, you will be like Mother Teresa, right? That's the ultimate goal. So, and that's the reason why I highlight this second point. Don't use. Probably it's not something that. It's not something that is very obvious. Of course, we don't find a girlfriend because we want to use them to do our homework if you are still studying, or do the washing of your clothes, right? We don't really have that intention, right? We never really think about it, but it can be something subtle. It can be something like, I feel like if I go to the mall alone, it doesn't feel nice. If I go to the movie alone, it doesn't feel nice. That's why I need a girlfriend or a boyfriend. So we have to be aware of this subtle intention that we have in our heart, right? In a way, will lead us to use the other person. Right? Doesn't mean that you cannot go to your movie with your girlfriend or boyfriend anymore, but I'm saying this subtle intention that we have, sometimes it is a bit more useful. So we can, I got a case of friend that used to serve with me in ministry back then, not so long ago, around probably 5 years ago, right? And this friend of mine is very into ministry work, so we have been serving together and stuff. And one day he comes to me and share a story with me. He said, I don't have time for my girlfriend. And my girlfriend started to ask me, or complain, ask me, can you spend uh, more time with me. Why you always spend time serving God? I want sometimes with you as well. And I told him at that time, sometimes probably it's good for them to talk together, right? But at the same time also try to understand what is the reason behind the complaint, right? It can be that person is using my friend to feel their loneliness, right? Because if you are someone good, if you are running towards God, I think you'll be happy if your other half is serving God, right? If you have your other half involved in ministry work, he is happy with it, with that work. At the same time, he's growing as a person. Of course, if he's torturing himself and stuff, we probably want to tell him, hey, maybe sometimes it's good to take a break, right? But if he's growing in his spirituality, he's learning about God, he's getting closer to God, if I am the boyfriend or girlfriend, I think I should be happy and probably serve with him as well. So I think this don't use, right, is very important. In a way, we need to be aware that we are really loving that person unconditionally, that we really want the good of others or our boyfriend or girlfriend, right? And I tell you, serving in ministry when you are attached, right? When you are girlfriend and boyfriend, is much easier than you are married and you have it is much more tiring. And I think that's where serving together will help you to understand or to be ready for the greater good that is coming, right? Because you got to know how to manage, how to love your wife while your children is doing this to you. How to listen to her after a bad day in the office when someone is clinging to you, asking you to play with her, right? So it's a good training ground, right? So if I just want to highlight that when we love someone, we love them unconditionally. Try to remember not to use them, right? And it can be subtle. It may not be conscious demand on our side, right? It may not be something that we explicitly say, oh, I want you to wash my dishes, although it will be good also. But you don't do that. You don't do that, okay? You can do, yeah. So just be aware of these subtle issues or subtle desire to make use of others in a relationship. And Natalia will share another example, a real life example that we have with someone that we know, right? Who actually have this using mentality when he or she go into relationship and end up married and divorced later.
I have a lot of friends here. Yeah, I have a lot of friends. So I think sometimes God just put these people around me to let me know their experience. This story is themselves telling me. So I have this friend. That is she last time she has this boyfriend. And they actually have been in a relationship for quite long. Then one day, she also announced it to me that they are going to get married in America, in USA. So this man has been living in USA for so long, and I can say that he is an American citizen. So the first thing I asked to her is, why do you decide to marry this guy? She said, oh, because we have been in a long-term relationship. Yeah, makes sense. Means they know each other very well. They say we have in common by family culture, by our personality, by our character, by our life, a vision of life. Oh, we are having something in common. I was like, okay, that's great. I was like, that's great. Then after that, she was telling me that, you know what? If I'm married to him, I can become American citizen, you know. I was like, huh? Then why? It has been my dream to stay in America. Oh really? I love USA. And it's very hard to get a citizenship. Even the PR is also very difficult. So I think if I marry this guy, I can have my dream come true. I mean, I can just switch, become an American. Then inside my heart, yeah, okay. Then still, I still give what is correct, what is actually according to God. So I still tell her a lot with your cheating, blah 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 blah. Then end up the marriage happened. So it happened. So it only lasts for I think only lasts for a few years. It only lasts for a few years, and they end up divorced after she get the American citizenship. So she has become an American citizen. So they divorced, then come up everything. We don't have the same vision of life. I thought just last time you say you have the same one. But you say you don't have the same one. Our family is so different. Our way of doing things is so different. And like, I thought you told me last time. You are so alike. Your family tradition is so good. Okay, we cannot judge anyone. But what I want to learn from this life experience is that we cannot have this a little bit of intention, although it's only a little, only 1%. You can have this 1% of intention to use in a relationship. If your relationship want to go to marriage, and I think in relationship only have two ways. In courtship, only have two things: go to marriage or bye-bye. That's it. So if you are going for the marriage, I think 1% of it also we cannot have this intention of using it. Although it's very simple.
Thank you, Ananda. And the last point, so don't worry, I'm going to end soon. The last point is do not hang. So what is this? Tommy getting nervous. So what I meant by this is we need to remember that when we go into relationship, like I did lose count. When we go into relationship, the end goal of a relationship, okay, sorry, maybe let me use the proper word. When we go into a courtship, the end goal of courtship is the yes or no moment. Do you know what is the yes or no moment? It's wedding. Why everybody looks surprised? It's wedding, it's marriage. That's the end goal of courtship. And this courtship is not a time that you should use just for fun, right? Of course, you can have fun when you are in the courtship, and I encourage you to do that because after marriage, it may be more difficult to have fun. Right? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
We have another kind of fun.
It's a different kind of fun.
Indoor playground, okay?
So I'm just kidding about that. But what I'm trying to say here is that when you're having a courtship with someone, it is actually a time of discernment. It's a time for you to assess, right, whether he or she is someone that you will live together with forever, right? Thank you. So So you got assistant also when. and I think not many church actually think that marriage is forever, right? But I'm very sure Catholic Church is one of them, and we are doing that not because that we don't. We have our own tradition. Yes, we have our own tradition, but it is also something that is written in Bible, right? So if we turn to the Bible, Matthew chapter 19, verse 6. So they are no longer two but one. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Right? So it is written when we got married, when we met each other, it is either complete or finished. Okay, what I meant is you have to be together with that person in bad or good, and that's our vow. Right? It's a journey with no return ticket. Right? And divorce is never an acceptable option. Okay, and that's where, when I was reading I don't read it today, but when I'm preparing for this talk, I read this Catechism of the Catholic Church, also known by CCC, right? And it's quite funny when I search for the word marriage, I actually end up in the page named martyrdom. Apparently, I see wrongly, I see the wrong. but I think it is something real. When you marry someone, you actually die to yourself. You should die to yourself. You cannot be one. You are still two persons. You should die to yourself. And that's what happened when you decide, this is the one that I'm going to be with. And it's important for us to remember that's the end goal, right? And when a bit more on the discernment that we need to have during this period, during this courtship, is that it is not about discernment of whether he is suitable for us. Whether he has the same personality as us, or whether this person can make me laugh, or whether this person is funny or what, right? But it is more a discernment of whether as a couple, as husband and wife, you can be closer to God, right? Because it's a fact that none of us actually have a very similar personality. We have different family background, we have different preference, right? Even brothers have different character, right? And it's impossible to find someone that 100% match with your personality, right? And we shouldn't do that, because if you do that, then you are only marrying yourself, which is impossible. And I think in the last talk also, Irma talked about even ourselves, we have flaws that we probably have that we need to continue to improve when we are in the singlehood, right? So it is impossible to find someone that is similar with you, and it's human nature to find someone that is different to us. We are more interested in someone that is different from us. That's why for boys, instead of looking another boy that is stronger than him or her, we look at a lady that probably is not strong but beautiful, right? We look at something that we don't have. We're typically more interested with something that we don't have. So it is important for us also, and this is the tough decision at times, to be brave, to be a hero, right? Not only for boys, for girls also, to make a decision when you are clear of the relationship that you have. Okay, it is important for you to be transparent, right? It is important for you to not waste the other person's time, right? If you listen and you feel that this is not the relationship that you should have moving forward, it is important not to waste their time, not to waste someone, the other person's time, the other person that you probably love, but you feel that this is not the person that you should be living with, right? And that's the reason why I use the word hang here. Don't hang, right? And personally, I have that story. Just that's the reason why I mentioned in the beginning, Natalia or me is actually is an ex-boyfriend and was an ex-boyfriend of Natalia. We are going to share that experience. Probably it's better for Natalia to share it than me because you get bored if I tell a story. Yeah, so we'll share that, and it's a real story that we have, and I think it is a very meaningful story to me, and I think God wants us to share with whoever people that we have opportunity to share it with.
So we are going to share our life experience. So this is about our life. We have been known until we get married. So we have been in a courtship for 14 years. Not 4 years, 14 years. I think when in our wedding we want to do the PowerPoint slide about our result, it's so difficult to cut down. It's too many. It's too long.